Welcome back to Pop Culture Theory. I am Saccora, and we are here today to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Now, what is Dungeons and Dragons? That is our topic of the day, as well as our Dungeons and Dragons giveaway here at the end. Now, Dungeons and Dragons, also known as D&D, is a fantasy role-playing game, often played with pen and paper and in the theater of the imagination, but it can also be played with miniatures on a hex-based or square-based grid. Now, one brave soul among your friends group will be the Dungeon Master, the person who is going to control the story and take you into the fantasy realm. The rest of you will be the player characters. You will take on fantastical roles, play races such as halflings and elves and dwarves, and even humans, and you can then take on classes such as fighter and paladin and cleric and wizard and rogue, and you take these roles into a fantasy realm and you play out a unique storyline that your DM will direct you through. Now, Dungeons and Dragons has survived through many editions, and no two games are alike. Even when you are playing a pre-built Dungeons and Dragons game, depending on how you and your DM run the game, it can be a completely different scenario than any other DM and group running the game. Now, D&D is one of my personal favorite games. I've been playing it for a long time. I've been playing it over 20 years now, and I almost exclusively DM these days. I highly recommend we all check it out, but there are multiple versions of the game that we can talk about here, and it all started back with the first edition created by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. Now, the original Dungeons and Dragons were games that I didn't start with when I first started, but I have played. They're fun, they're exciting, but they are a little limited compared to some of the newer editions. I personally started with Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition, also known as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Then I moved on to D&D 3.0, which afterwards led to possibly the best Dungeons and Dragons version, D&D 3.5. In many circles, this is considered one of the best. It is a game where you can really get into your characters and fine-tune them. You can really get those nitty-gritty details. It led into D&D 4th Edition, one of the most disappointing in my opinion. It plays a little more like a video game, but there was also Pathfinder that spawned out of 3.5. It is an awesome game, my opinion, the true successor to 3.5. But right now, we are here today to talk about D&D 5th Edition. And 5th Edition is an awesome version of the game. It is very new player accessible, and I really recommend new players starting on this one here. Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition has all of your classic elements. It has many of the races we loved, as well as a lot of the classes. It cuts out some of the crazy things like prestige classes, and it really instead makes it an experience where everybody has archetypes and things like that. Now, we're going to talk more about what all of these are later in other videos, what your races are, your classes are, what the options you can go into with them are, but we really just want to cover the basics here in this video today. So, I really hope you all check out Dungeons & Dragons. It's what's known as a D20 based system. You're going to use a lot of different dice going up to a D20. All these dice are going to have different functions depending on what your character is. Now, Dungeons & Dragons is a very awesome game. It can be used in many ways. There can be high fantasy settings and low fantasy settings. I've played in sci-fi and western versions. It really depends on your DM and what your friends group wants. That'll depend what you play with Dungeons & Dragons here. Now, let's talk about our giveaway. I'm going to give away one of these Players Handbooks from D&D 5th Edition to one lucky viewer out there. All you have to do to get in on this raffle is like this video and subscribe to our channel. Any D&D video I make between now and March 4th, you will also be able to like and get another entry into the D&D raffle. We're going to do multiple raffles between March 4th and March 10th, and I will announce more of those details this coming Friday here. But get your chance, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and get into this raffle here. Get your hardcover D&D Player's Handbook for 5th Edition here. Now, you do not have to be a member of our Patreon in order to be part of this, but we do, of course, have patreon.com/Saccora, and here you can go ahead and give us $1 a month, and that $1 a month is going to help us to produce some more videos, as well as we're going to be making new content for you guys. We want to know what you guys want to see. We really want to get you guys involved with all of this content here. Do you want some best builds? Would you like more in-detail videos with different races and classes? What are you looking for? Once again, I am Saccora with Pop Culture Theory, and I will catch you all next time.